All right.
Tell you a couple of
So,
stories.
yeah, tell me. Here you
No,
go.
no, I know I'll have it in my pockets.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
We're rolling.
You can hand me the cap, too. It's in the middle of it, and I'll make it something. Tell me camera.
You're rolling.
Rolling. We're talking about these tripods here and the pan heads and all of that. It takes me back to the silent days when I remember shooting a scene where there's two men at a bar. And the director said, now there's a fight going to start in the middle of this. And he said, I'm going to change speeds. So I'm turning 2 turns a second, which was 16 frames a second. And I'm turning 2 turns, and here it is, pretty close too. That's just about it.
But you don't have a crank. How could you?
Oh,
They could.
right.
Oh my God.
Here.
Cut. The director said.
All right, here.
All right, here we are.
I'm turning 2 turns a second, see? No, I can't do the rest of...
All right.
No.
Here, assistant cameraman.
No, it's all right. I'm going to start this again now. I had interference here.
Okay.
Okay.
Make up.
No.
All right.
Wait till wet my lips, too.
Looking good.
All
Okay.
right.
Now, I haven't had a shave, though, since this morning. But anyway, start over again now. Nice, clean start. In the silent days, we turned 2 turns a second. Now, we were shooting a scene once on a Pathé serial where the director had 2 people sitting at a bar, and he says the fight's going to start. And he said, when it does, I want to change speeds. So, here we are cranking. The fight starts, he says, drop it down to 12. Now, I should say that while I'm cranking, I'm still turning the tilt head and the pan head. The pan head's back here, the tilt is here on the tripod. So I'm looking in an upside down finder. Excuse me, there's an airplane. Okay, now I'm back. The 2 guys are sitting at the bar, and I'm turning 2 turns a second. At the same time, I'm looking at an upside-down finder, and I'm tilting the camera to keep them in the picture with the front crank, and the back one is to keep panning the tripod. So I'm turning 2 turns a second. I'm tilting and panning, and the director says drop it down to 12. Well, the 12 is like this. See, at the same time as I drop it to 12, I have to pull the shutter on the Bell & Howell camera down to 120 degrees from 170. So with my third hand, I'm tilting and panning. I reach up and I pull that shutter, and as I slow down, and I have to do it smoothly, otherwise we get an exposure change. So I don't know how it was possible, but a fervent young guy trying to make his way like I was then, of course. You just do it somehow. I couldn't possibly do it today, but that's a true story. But I've got a million of them about the silent days, and some of them are quite poignant too. Thank you.
Amazing.
Can I say a little something?
Sure.
I think this is really interesting. When I first came to Los Angeles, I won't tell you what year, but it was between 1922 and 1924. But anyway, one of the first pictures I ever saw when I was a little tiny tot was called The Green Archer. And all these years, I never forgot it. My first impression, first picture, he was the assistant cameraman on The Green Archer. Isn't that a coincidence?
That was in Astoria, Long Island studio.
Yeah.
And that was about 1926. And it was my first picture, The Green Archer, Pathé serial, directed by Spencer Gordon Bennett, who was my uncle. And he was, prior to that, he was a stunt man for Pearl White. And I remember coming over to my mother's youngest brother, and I remember coming over to the house because he was working as a stunt man. He'd come over all banged up, and one time he was in a fire scene, and he had bandages all over his face. But he jumped off a cliff on a Pearl White serial, and he got $1 a foot. And it was a 60-foot cliff. Got $60. And then after they shot take one, they said, well, now once more. And the funny part, I'll go a little further with that, is that his brother was in a rowboat to pick him up, and it was in the Hudson River.
I'll
And there
be
was only
darned.
one spot where it was deep enough, you know,
Oh,
to
yeah.
dive in. And
I'll be
so
darned.
his brother was a chief petty officer in the Navy, see?
Yeah.
And he's out there in a rowboat ready to pick up Spence. And so Spence dives in, and he rows over there, and he's trying to pull Spencer into the boat, and the boat goes over, the little skiff, and Archie's thrown in the water, and Archie can't swim. And Spencer saved Archie. Although he was in the Navy, he
Yeah.
couldn't swim.
I'll be
That's a
darned.
true story.
Did I tell you I used to be a stunt man? I was like this, but I grew.
I see.
Yeah,
You grew and grew.
yeah.
Well,